It's been a summer punctuated by gunfire. Tragedies from Gilroy to Chicago, from El Paso to Dayton, and yesterday's incident in Philadelphia have renewed calls for Congress to do something about gun violence.
But our officers need help. They need help. They need help with gun control. They need help with keeping these weapons out of these people's hands.
One potential something is the return of the assault weapons ban, which was law of the land from 1994 to 2004. It was passed as part of a sweeping Clinton-era crime bill.
There are still far too many children in harm's way, too many families behind locked doors, too many guns in the hands of too many criminals.
The bill stopped the production and sale of some assault weapons, as well as high-capacity magazines. The ban had a sunset provision, which kicked in during 2004, effectively ending a 10-year experiment. If you want to convince people to bring back the ban, the natural question now is, did it work? But figuring out the answer to that is kind of difficult. In part because for more than 20 years, Congress included a provision in funding bills that stops federal dollars from being used to advocate for gun control. That's more or less ended attempts by the federal government to research gun violence prevention. Now, that doesn't mean work wasn't ever done. The National Institute of Justice funded multiple studies between 1997 and 2004 by criminology professor Christopher Koper to study the effects of the assault weapons ban. In one chapter of the 2013 book, Reducing Gun Violence in America, Koper writes, quote, "The ban did not appear to affect gun crime during the time it was in effect." But in a later study, published in 2017, he gives the ban more credit by pointing to how bad things have gotten since the ban ended. He writes, while more research is needed, there is, quote, "evidence that the federal ban curbed the spread of high-capacity semi-automatic weapons." So did the assault weapons ban work? Maybe. I spoke with John Turris, a political science professor at LaGrange College in Georgia, who's more definitive in his analysis than Koper. He dug through a database of mass shootings compiled by, no, not the US government, but a liberal magazine.
I looked at the Mother Jones study, which both liberals and conservatives have cited, and that looks at all shootings from 1982 to 2019. So before the assault weapons ban went into effect, we had 19 shootings with 1.46 on average every year. During the assault weapons ban, we had, of 10 years, 15 shootings or 1.5. I looked at the number of deaths per year. Before the ban, it was 11.46 per year on average. It was 9.2 per year during the ban.
Turris found that from the time the ban ended until now, there have been 81 mass shootings resulting in 655 deaths. That comes out to 5.4 shootings and 43.6 deaths per year, though not all of them were done with assault weapons.
During the ban, the differences were not that great. However, after the ban, the data is overwhelmingly in favor of things getting worse by letting it expire. When you start looking at what happened in 2005 all the way through 2019, that's the strongest evidence for me that the gun ban, rescinding that, did not work.
But okay, so assault weapons ban, a good thing. Well, I talked to one more professor who studies this stuff, Franklin Zimring at UC Berkeley's law school.
The question of whether there was an effect that you could tie to the tail of that law being passed gets to be very difficult if what you're trying to do is a body count. If, on the other hand, you're asking, did the number of those weapons being introduced in the United States during that period of time go down, then the answer is yes.
So if you narrow the question to, did the ban stop guns from being made, which means there were fewer weapons out there to kill people, then yeah, that limited effect alone may make it worth fighting for another ban. But what's really clear is that there isn't one thing you can point to that absolutely proves the ban worked. Politicians will have to rely on people, polling, and their gut to figure out what to do. And maybe while they're considering that, they should consider funding research into this epidemic so they can make decisions based on, data.